Hey, this is Mark.
And I'm Rick, and we're from Ash, and this is Tar Recommended.
So this first record that I've picked is the second album by Weezer, which is my favorite Weezer album. We actually toured with them on this album across America. Was a real treat, and I actually ended up working on their crew doing their lights for them because they didn't have lights at that time. So I thought I put my hand up and said I can do that, and they let me. So I ended up running their lights for a lot of these songs on this album.
It's a bit of a dark record, I think, compared to the Blue album. But yeah, it's like, I think all the kids these days, it's like, certainly my kids know Weezer from Buddy Holly, which apparently has turned into a TikTok meme. But I got my daughter into this album quite recently, so if you haven't heard it, definitely check it out.
Favorite songs off it is probably Why Bother, Get You, Tired of Sex, Good Life, Pink Triangle. There's like so many good songs. And then even the last song, Butterfly, is a little acoustic number. People who are all Weezer fans know that this is probably their best album. So, but if you only know songs like Buddy Holly or Beverly Hills, this is their best. Nobody but me, and I don't wanna be an old man anymore. It's been a year or two since I was out on the floor, shaking booty, making sweet love all the night. This time I got back to.
So I picked this as my favorite Black Sabbath record. They're a band I was very much into as a kid. I think I got through them via Ozzy in the 80s, and I had like a cassette. I think it was like a compilation, and I kind of loved it, but it was also quite weird because it felt like I didn't know like when one song ended and one song started. But as that was me as 14 years old. But don't judge a book by its cover, because it's probably one of the worst covers of all time. However, the music in here is like, it's pretty revolutionary. If you're into metal and you don't know where it started, you're probably not that into metal, but this is kind of the record that did it for me. We got classics like War Pigs, Paranoid, and my own personal favorite, Hand of Doom. Go and check it out. It's so heavy. I love it.
My next pick is Nirvana's Bleach, which obviously it's their first album. I think a lot of us got turned on to Nirvana and discovered them with Nevermind, which changed music for the entire world. But then going back and discovering Bleach, and this was on Sub Pop, and a lot of these songs maybe not as commercial and slick as Nevermind was, but like really raw, amazing rhythms on the drums and great riffs. And I used to play a game with a friend of mine in school whenever we were not listening to the teacher. We'd sit with our pencils and do like the drum beats to the different songs off Bleach, and it was like guess the drum beat to Nirvana, and that's what we did in physics class. Lots of fun. We actually recorded a cover of one of the songs off Bleach, which one did we do again? Blue. We did Blue, the first track, which is a B-side to our Numbskull single, which turned out really good. So you can find that as well.
Moving on from Nirvana, we're kind of still in the same genre here. We've got some Soundgarden for you. Now, this was kind of, I said this probably passed me by. I was like kind of aware of Soundgarden, but I think we were such big Nirvana fans at the time. They were kind of like the only grunge band for us. So like Pearl Jam, Soundgarden stuff didn't really get a look in, but I think over the years this record's like really grown on me. Production on it's absolutely amazing. The drumming on it, Matt Cameron has become one of my favorite drummers. I'm kind of on a mission to try and like learn as much from this record as I possibly can. And that's before we even get on to Chris Cornwell and his voice is just like absolutely spectacular. There's like not really any singers like him. If you haven't heard it, check it out.
You scream again. Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away.
This is one of my all-time favorite albums, Goo by Sonic Youth. The cover is truly iconic. So many T-shirts have been sold of just that. People buy that T-shirt and wear it, not even knowing what the album is. This is probably Sonic Youth's best album in my opinion. Dirty Boots, Cool Thing, My Friend Goo. They're just a class act. I've seen Sonic Youth live so many times. They can be quite hit and miss. Sometimes you can see them and they'll keep you waiting for maybe 15 minutes before they drop a song you even recognize, or they can play just a set full of greatest hits and it'd be the best thing you've ever seen.
Well, we also saw them.
Oh, we saw them play their last ever show. So we played at the same festival as them was it Brazil?
Yeah, Sao Paulo.
Yeah. And it was very, very weird show because we were flew in on the same planes as them and we could tell that all was not well in their camp, you know. But there was weird vibes and it was very evident on stage that there was dysfunction going on. It's sad to see because we've seen them whenever they were truly amazing live and then at the very end as well. But this is, I guess, Goo and Dirty Boots and Daydream Nation are their three biggest albums. I'd say this is their best. I don't know if this is their biggest album because all of their albums they're just so giant now. The National, it's High Violet. I think they're my favorite band right now. I saw them here in Dublin a few weeks ago, and I would say it's probably up there with like one of the best arena shows I've ever seen. Period. Their live show is a lot more energy and in your face than say the recordings. That's kind of what I like on the records. You can put on the National, and it's not elevator music. It's not back, but it's just music to sort of like chill to. I like put it on and go to sleep, fall asleep and have nice dreams to it and stuff. He's got the best voice, quite low, and whenever they first came on the scene was probably around the early 2000s, and I had just moved to America, and they were kind of like getting big, and they were like the favorite band of all the hipsters in Brooklyn, and I didn't quite get them at that time, but they're a band I've sort of like grown to love, and I'd say in the last 5 years, and this is probably the one with the best songs on it. Do you have anything to say?
No.
Cover me in rag and bone, sympathy, 'cause I don't wanna get over you.
Here we got a lovely looking black and white cover. It's not intentional, but there's a bit of gooniness going on in this one as well. I enjoy this record. I also do have a bit of a fever, which is probably why I picked it.
Which is why I'm sitting a couple of feet away from you.
Yeah, I'm very ill. I don't normally sound like this. If you don't know who this is Karen Dreyer, who formerly of The Knife. And yeah, it's like, I think we fair to say we've picked quite a lot of guitar-y records on here, but this is something very different. It's all very kind of synth-led stuff. And Karen's got like an amazing voice, amazing songwriter. I weirdly discovered this from a TV program. I instantly heard the voice and I was like, I know who that is. And when I figured it out, I tracked down this record, and it doesn't disappoint. Check it out if you like a bit of electronica, a little bit of weirdness. This is the record for you.
Last night I drew a funny man with dog eyes and a hanging tongue. It goes way back.
And here we got Pixies' album, Doolittle. Probably got some of their biggest songs: "The Baser," "Here Comes Your Man," "Wave of Mutilation." What else?
I read something about this record recently.
You do that while I read.
Apparently, I don't know how true this is, but they were saying it was like a concept album about all the songs are about death.
Got a monkey on the cover. Monkey Gone to Heaven.
Yeah, well, there's monkey. There's a couple that make sense, like Monkey Gone to Heaven. I guess Gouge Your Way is kind of about. I think it's a very biblical one. I think about Samson. There's a lot of religious references going on as well. There Goes My Gun. That might be about death. Mr. Greaves is definitely about death. Wave of Mutilation. I mean, it's all kind of adding up, really. I Bleed. Yeah, quite a few death themes on it. But yeah, Pixies were a big influence on Ash as well. When we were kind of growing up. I think our obsession with kind of like alternative music from the States started with Nirvana when that really blew up. That was like a huge influence, but that led us to stuff that are come out like a few years before, like this. And I think this is possibly their finest moment. Yeah, and also, if you like the sound of screaming in rock and roll, and let's face it, who doesn't like a good scream? Black Francis's scream in this is just fantastic. So check it out.
And we toured. We played some shows with the Pixies after they reformed. 2004. I remember we played the Zenith in Paris, which is kind of like a biggish kind of like arena show. And we had a guitar tech who worked for us for years, was working for them. So we were hanging at the side of the stage with him. I remember I was crouched behind Frank Black's guitar amp, like looking out over the crowd, and he was maybe like 15 feet in front of us. And you could, whenever he was screaming, what was the one he was screaming? Tame. Over the top of all of the amps and the drums, the volume coming out of his lungs was just, it set you back a bit, and you're just like, wow, you're in the presence of greatness. And then 10 minutes after the show, he was just backstage, really quiet, sitting around table having a wee chat. Very surreal.
We also got a few magic tricks courtesy of their drummer, who was looking to steal some whiskey off us because they were on a dry bus. So we'd half the band knocking on our dressing room door, going, "Can we come in and show you some magic tricks for booze?" So, yeah, we got magic tricks, they got booze. Okay, this is the last of my picks. It's somewhat related to the last one. We had the Pixies. We've got Kim Deal, who went on to form the Breeders a few years after Pixies split up. This record's one that sort of like I'll listen to like every couple of years and go, why am I not listening to this every day? Pixies are a huge deal, but I think this record's almost as big a deal. I think Kim Deal I think she kind of took a bit of a back seat in the Pixies in many ways. I know she sung a few songs, but on this, she really shines. Production in this it's pretty lo-fi, but she's got the coolest guitar sounds ever. She writes some great hooks, whether it's like Divine Hammer or Cannonball. And there's like some really beautiful acoustic moments with Driving on 9, which is a song gets me every time. So thanks, Kim. You're an absolute legend.
I remember whenever Cannonball hit the sort of like the indie clubs back in that was the late 90s, wasn't it? You couldn't go anywhere without hearing Cannonball. That was my anecdote. And my last pick is Discovery by Daft Punk. It's just one of maybe the greatest albums ever recorded. One More Time, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. We use this album as our sort of warm-up music before we go on stage for like probably a good year, just to sort of like get us into the mood, get us dancing around the dressing room, get the energy up.
If you ever need hyped up for anything, this is the record to do it to. It works all the time.
every time.
70% of the time, all the time.
Harder, better, faster, stronger. Harder, better, faster, stronger.
Hey, this is Mark from Ash.
This is Rick from Ash. This is our brand new record, Race the Night, which is out now, available at Tar Records and on Fierce Panda, our lovely label. Enjoy.
Midnight comes a mystical